Hey YouTube, I'm coming to you from Buffalo, New York. I borrowed this from my parents to clean this carpet that it's actually on, and when I first started it up, it was leaking water all over the place. Wasn't working the way it was supposed to. So I did a little research at that point and found that I was actually missing one of the gaskets on the bottom of the uh, water tank here. The back one looks very similar to it, so I'm going to show you that because it's a little easier. So I was missing basically that red piece. And so I replaced it, put it back on, hooked it up. I thought I was good to go. Turns out I wasn't. It still wasn't working the way it's supposed to. I wasn't getting any water coming out when I depressed the handle. And I also was noticing that if you look, one second here, this thing's supposed to turn when you depress the handle, and that knows that you have the suction through the system, and that wasn't turning either. I saw many people on forums and videos that are having the same issue. I saw anything from taking the whole thing apart and cleaning out filters to making sure that gasket wasn't stuck in the bottom. I actually even saw a screw that someone suggested putting right in here so it would depress that water intake from the water tank. I tried all of those, none of them worked. So I was about to give up on this thing and just send it back to the rents. When I got that new piece, I went back to the drawing board and kind of looked at that. What I discovered was probably the easiest stupid thing out of all these suggestions that you'll see online. This is a simple fix, and if you think about it, it makes total sense. However, just wouldn't make sense if you didn't know it was there to begin with. So when you put these gaskets on, and obviously it comes with it, but they're very flexible and they kind of get out of whack. Even the Bissell website said check to make sure it's not in that hole that came loose from the water tank. So anyhow, when these are set correctly, all you need to make sure is see that right here. There's a little bit of space there. See how that comes up over the nozzle a little bit. So what was happening to mine is this top end was actually even with that nozzle. So it was flush if you were to run your finger across it. And if you just kind of pull that out a little bit and let that nozzle sit on top of that other plastic part, you're actually going to get a lock into where you're putting that nozzle. So if I go back to here and I push this in, prior to this wasn't, see that little ledge right there? See how it comes up a little bit there? That was, like I said, flush, and when I would put it in there, it felt like it was seating well, and I felt like I was doing everything right, but turns out I wasn't. So if I put this in now, that's what I was doing. And it would sit in there and, feel like it was okay. But when that's on the correct way, you got to push down a little bit, and you kind of almost feel that gasket kind of hug that other end. It's the same thing on this side. When I was putting this in, I bring it on over, and I just set it down. Now, if you notice, that's kind of sitting there. But when it's on the right way, you actually got to push it down a little bit, and you'll feel that little snugness there. That little ledge of gasket apparently is enough to create a seal between those two areas, and that'll give you the suction that you need. It took me a long time to figure out such a stupid, simple thing, but I wanted to make this video because apparently there's a ton of people experiencing the same thing, and if you go to the Bissell website, they don't mention that at all as a troubleshoot, and this thing works obviously very well once you figure it out. So to all those that are having the same problem, I hope this saves you some time. Like I said, it's such a simple fix. Just make sure that ledge is up and the suction will be there. As soon as I did that, that wheel started spinning like crazy. That's all it was that little bit of gasket. Have a good one.